5 days.
Huh?
The website free for the first 5 days because it's Black History Month.
Mm-hmm.
You think that's a good idea?
To the website, which
Hey, when the cat's away, the mice will play. What's going on?
all right.
All right.
Julius,
Hello,
I
everybody.
fired Julius, so I took over the company. You know, it's now Bryant Enterprises. You know, so we're gonna change the name and all that later. What's up, Tiffany?
How you doing, Robert? How you doing, Eyes of Jesus? I miss y'all on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm. Glad to see you. Glad to see you.
Yeah. Glad to be back on with you guys.
But we coming up. We got to come to Athens. We got to check out Daniel, and I got other unfinished business, but we leave that alone. I had my a couple drinks too. What's going on? What's going on, Mr. Teray, Dr. Ray?
It's all good. It's all good. It's all good.
So, Chandra, I know you hear us. You created this agenda, and now you want to run and hide, but that's okay. That's what Chandra does. But y'all, what you got on your mind? What's going on this week? What's happening? What's in the news that y'all want to kind of hit off in this first 20 minutes?
Tomorrow we'll be in Jacksonville at the Scottish Rite Center with Dr. Umar Johnson, and the African Spirit of Day Clean will be there at 2:00. The doors open up at 2:00. Open up 2:00. It's a free event. We're going to be doing a variety of things, honoring people. We're going to have entertainment. We're going to have vendors. We're going to have food there. So I'll be discussing about reparations now. Dr. Umar Johnson hitting upon history, Black history. And so, again, we're going to have all that going on. And we just had our show on Tell That. And so that's Umar Sharif, the imam there, who's putting it on, the Sankofa Study Group. He encouraged people to come down to check it out, check out the show down in Jacksonville, but also encourage people to come to the Grand African Ball. That's on Saturday, on the 3rd. So Dr. Umar Johnson be there in Savannah on the 3rd, but then also in Jacksonville. So again, that's what we do. We say we believe in supporting one another, supporting our people. So yeah, so that's why I'm going to throw that on out there. And then also Saturday afternoon, we're going to be on St. Helena dealing with Black Land. That's Queen Quet, Councilwoman Bridget Frazier in Bluffton, myself, and we're going to see if we got some other folks coming from Brunswick side also talking about Black Land.
Okay, that's absolutely amazing.
I'm so excited about that. I want to come.
Sean's, I'm going to keep it. If you're not going to show your picture, not tonight. Show the picture. We ain't doing that.
Well, I'm in the car.
Well, baby, you got to drive it.
Well, I don't have a driver right now. Like, I'm picking up Chris.
She lied, y'all. She told me a minute ago she had Chris. This stuff over lie.
I'm picking him back up at the Wingstop, guys. If you must know all my business.
I need to know.
5 minutes away, even when we're 15 minutes away. I always say that. Tiffany, where you at? I'm just around the corner.
Right.
No, I had already picked him up from school, but he wanted something to eat. And, Texas law say we got to feed him.
You ain't got to do nothing, but stay black and die.
So, you do, so you're going to be arrested.
I'm the mess with you. Go ahead, Sean. I had to pick on you.
Okay. But I am so tempted to drive down to Savannah this weekend because I really want to meet Dr. Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't have any African garb for the African ball.
Well, I don't either, but you wear what you got. I'm gonna wear a suit and all that. It is what it is. I mean, you don't have to. But I want to give a shout out to Two Chefs Restaurant and Tiffany Washington and her husband. I mean, it's a phenomenal event. I went last year and I got my ticket for this year. It's just I've never seen anything like it.
She's amazing.
So Tiffany, what's going on in North Georgia?
So is Dr. Johnson going to be live?
You got an echo. You got your phone on.
That's me with the echo, right?
Just off the other device. I muted. Just mute that device. There you go.
It's still echo. I'm gonna get back on with my laptop. I'm on the cell phone because my laptop is acting funny.
There you go, right now. You good?
Oh, I'm good. Oh, okay. Yeah. But yeah, when I saw the flyer, I was like, "What, Dr. Umar? Oh my goodness! I love listening to Dr. Umar. I would love to be in Savannah. It's gonna be live, Jesus.
Now, Dr. Teray, I have told Tiffany and the entire Taylor family that they are welcome here. They ain't got they got a place to stay.
It's gonna be live stream.
Ain't about me and Mama.
Saturday night.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's gonna be live stream on Saturday, and in Jacksonville they were like saying it's free, so they wasn't gonna necessarily, they like, hey, it's free for everybody to come. So
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And y'all got a place to stay, so if you end up here, we got Jamal and Dr. Tracy in the house, so ain't nobody but me and Mama. So, anywho, Let's see what's on this agenda before we get in trouble. Lord have mercy. Let me send this to y'all. Keep talking. Let me get this thing to Sean, y'all. I don't know why Sean got to be the delinquent one.
So yeah. But
In the meantime, I was gonna share this. Julius Hall and them supposed to be getting me some seafood. So I'm waiting to see if they're gonna bring the seafood back. They can bring. I told them they can go and wrap that seafood up and bring it back tomorrow. I know how to microwave stuff. The microwave will kill whatever they think is some bacteria. It will take it on out.
Fix it, Jesus. Fix it, Lord. I'm good on that.
That's the only thing I miss about Chatham Day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so where he is, so people, for our viewers, he's at Chatham Day. So every year, Chatham County representatives get a chance to go to the Capitol and talk with Brian Kemp. Which, by the way, shout out to Brian Kemp. So for those of you all don't know, you watch the political spectrum, you'll know Brian Kemp is getting ready to launch a campaign against John Ossoff. And so today, what he did was he signed a bill in Georgia against anti-Semitism. Talking about brilliant, that's a brilliant move. Brilliant move.
So you think it's John Ossoff, or do you think it's Ross?
Oh yeah, John Ossoff is an easier pick than Warnock, and you got to think about it. Kemp's 4 years ends right when Ossoff's campaign begins, so it makes sense. But we'll see. But if I'm Kemp, Ossoff is the weaker of the two, in my opinion. But that's not the political spectrum, so we won't go there. So what's on the list? Chandra, you created this agenda. So you put on here, you had said was, should Black people in America sign up for the U.S. military?
Yes. I did this based on the fact that I don't know if I told you guys, but that unit that got struck on Sunday was my son's unit, but my son had he had hurt his leg before they left for deployment, and he had to have 2 surgeries in the last 4 months, and they left about 4 months ago or 5. And anyway, he was supposed to be going back to reunite with his unit this month, but the paperwork got delayed because he was supposed to leave on the 15th. And so when that happened this weekend, I was devastated, for the, because this is his unit and he knew all of these people so intimately. And then he started feeling a little bit of survivor's guilt and things like that. But, I never, in all of the years, my son has been in the military for 19 years. And in all of the years that he's been in, I never wanted a dead hero. First of all. And then second of all, I never wanted him to fight for a country that does not inheritedly, we feel like second-class citizens or third-class citizens or no citizenship at all. Why do they send our poor people to war? And you have the people like Trump and all his family, they would never enter into the military, period.
All right, Tiffany, and then Dre. Because Tiffany, I know you had family. David was one who went to the military. I think, there's some others in your family, but what are your thoughts?
Yeah, when I originally seen it on the news, I was so devastated. I started thinking about their moms, and also, back to Sandra's point, we groom our children in high school in JRTC, you know, to be proud to fight for our country. But we groom them in the high school. It's nothing compared to what they see when they actually go into combat. And so you know, I don't know. It's bittersweet because those young people wanted to serve their country, and for their lives to be cut down like that is just so, you know, it's so unfortunate. But we also have to be mindful that our soldiers, they fight for the United States of America, who is known as a bully overseas, who's known, you know, to not be such a good character or good morale. And so, you know, our children are put in that space because they're, you know, protecting our country. But in some cases, they're also oppressing other countries. And so, you know, it's a loaded question. You know, we want our children to feel like they have the same rights as, you know, white soldiers to be able to go overseas or whatever, but we shouldn't just keep sending our kids to the army. I mean, we should be sending them off to college, making sure they have the skills to be entrepreneurs, things to strengthen their community here. But yeah, those are my 2 cents. It's unfortunate.
Teray?
Unfortunate.
Well, absolutely sad, and that with things like that, that should push us even more to fight and demand, because we've seen every war the United States, African people have been involved in. We've always been involved in all the wars from the American Revolution on. And so that we need to be just as adamant about the rights that we demand, as opposed to falling by the wayside, that we get distracted, we don't stand up, we don't speak out. Because here go people who never once had their children go to war, but they're going to talk about how patriotic they are. Again, it's propaganda. So now we need to be speaking the truth with regards to that. We need to speak the truth and make the demands and say this system that we have played a role from Vietnam and on, that we have played a role with regards to saying our lives being taken out, and to protect you all with regards to that, you all not turn around and discriminate against us. Look at what happens in Florida. Look at what happened in Arkansas. Look at what's going on. That again, so we protect them. They talk about being patriotic, but then still, yeah, you're not patriotic when it comes down to African Americans who are in the military, who provide protection for you, for this nation right here. So I tell you, it comes down to us and our fight with regards to this, the fight for liberation. That again, we stand by and we compartmentalize it. We compartmentalize it. I'm not saying no. That is all together with regards to we should be demanding it. And that patriotism is not that somebody can wrap themselves in a flag. Patriotism is being able to voice what needs to be done to make this society, to make this country better.
You know, when you were saying that, what made me think, you made me go here. It's okay as long as brown and black people are dying, right? Mm-hmm. So you send us across, you like you said, Dr. Trey, we can be patriotic. But we ain't patriotic enough that you can't take your knee off our neck like George Floyd.
Absolutely.
So it's when you juxtaposition the idea of, you know, you got an officer who's never served in the military on the neck of a brother who has served and protected his country, maybe in Kuwait or somewhere in a real war. And when we sit back and we look at that, you gave me this whole image of what's really going on, right? So. It kind of, like the young people say, it blows my mind that we good enough as long as we're getting shot and killed, but we're not good enough to be equal in this country. Sean, what you think?
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. To me, I think the cure for racism is everybody going in the military. Everybody, rich, poor.
That's not why would how? How, Sean?
Because
how would that be a cure for racism?
It's literally to me because it's like put everybody in the same struggle, put everybody at trying to accomplish the same mission, and your leaders look like you and them, and your leaders don't care about you. I mean, your color, their color. It's, hey, the mission, and everybody's mission is the mission. And if you don't realize that you're the problem, you're the one holding the mission back because you have that skin problem with everybody else.
Now, I will give Sean credit on this. I get what he's saying. Pretty much 90% of my family on both sides have been in the military, except for me, because y'all know me. I mean, you gonna tell me what to do. But that's how I want. But to Sean's point, you learn discipline. And honestly, in the military, I've seen this in movies and I've heard it, from people who are veterans. That whole color issue is out the door because it's about protecting your fellow man and woman. So I got to give you credit there, Sean. I mean, Chandra.
Exactly. If anybody's seen the movie,
no.
Mary J. And the guy that played Eazy-E, and but that was about a soldier that came back, and he fell in love with a French woman back then. You know what I'm saying? Which over there they didn't see us as separated and all that other stuff. They saw us as liberators. And the son of a pilot that was saved by the Red Tails, the son of a racist that was saved by some Red Tails out there. So they they hang out in the South, and because of their war experience, they were able to come back and hang out in the South, but yeah, I think racism is a cure for racism if everybody had to join the military for a little while. Why? Because we separate that rich from poor. Sorry, separate that, you can be somebody rich, you can't buy yourself out of trouble anymore. You know what I'm saying? You can't put yourself out of trouble.
Well, a lot of black military men and women, I'm sure, but I've spoken to a lot of black military men that suffer racism in the military. My son has been in the years and tests to information and everything. It's taken him forever.
Well, Chandra, you're going in and out. So, but what I want to do right now with that one word, racism, that's a loaded word. And from someone who has done DEI work, diversity, equity, inclusion work, inclusive excellence work for years, we will jump on that racism word quicker than trying to understand what have I contributed to this bullshit that's going on. And I'm just going to use that word. And that's sometimes I encourage people to step back and look at everything ain't racism. Sometimes folk want to just, they did this to me. Well, what did you contribute to the situation? See, one thing I had to tell somebody this a couple months ago, a conflict or a problem doesn't happen just because I'm around. It takes two to make anything, transact. So I take issue with the fact that, they're racist. Maybe it's they had a bad day. Maybe it's they don't like you. But I want to understand when people say this word racism, what are you talking about? Because everything ain't because a person's racist. Just maybe they don't mess with you like that.
You know what? Yeah. What? I see.
I'm not saying racism is real, that people play a game with regards to that. We look at a systemic situation that goes on. I say I do not believe in absolving the oppressor and oppression with regard to that. Racism is real, and people go and say it. That again, you got implicit racism, explicit racism. You got all that goes on with our people, And then oftentimes Caucasians, I tell people, I said, that's actually a sign of oppression. Oppressed people function like that. Oppressed people go and say, no, it doesn't exist. And sometimes oppressed people, when they go and say it, because they felt powerless. Mm-hmm. And that's based on that. And so now I have to go and say this. Yes, for some segments of the military, it is, again, you are able to function together. But guess what? We have seen and we have heard the information that's out there. So I'm like, we don't even play the game. African-American soldiers have gone and discussed. We have experienced racism in the military. We have seen it. Yeah. So if I gotta go and say this, I don't generally bring this up. And I tell people, my father was in the Air Force. My father in the Air Force and during the Korean War, he was an MP. He discussed what had happened when he thought that, hey, as an MP, I should effectuate the laws against anyone. Again, if they are committing crimes or they're committing infractions, I'm supposed to enforce the laws. But guess what happened? He could do that against black folks, but when he came to a Caucasian, they were like, no, and he stood firmly with regards to that. Then what happened? They were like, well, you know what? You probably gonna be able to make this a career because you done got yourself jammed. You went and did this to this officer right here. And so he like, because he was Caucasian, he might say, wait a minute, that if I'm doing this to other people, even if it's a black officer, guess what? Non-commissioned officer, guess what? No. So I'm like saying, come on now. The studies are there. The studies say that. And I said, we do a disservice to people who are looking at the show when we act like, no. I'm like, yes, there are areas that, it's all cool with regards to it. But then also, so I got to say this. Now, what about the number of African-American servicemen who came back here who were then blinded and still killed based on the fact that they didn't like the fact that they were African-American servicemen? That again, we look at the Harlem Hellfires and all that. We look at this right here, and that goes to show you the hypocrisy of the system. And it is absolute racism. And the same people, some of them are in the military, but guess what? Some of them then become racist. You have the exceptions, but they are racist still. Yet that's no different from people who are athletes on team. You got quarterbacks on football teams and other athletes who become racist. Tommy Tuberville had a team of black folks playing for him. But guess what? He not is oppressing people. So I'm just throwing it out there. So
you're absolutely right. And also how the servicemen were denied loans that their white counterparts did. They received loans. They were able to obtain generational wealth coming from and so it is racist. Let's be able to call a spade, and it's systemic. And even if we say to this day, like, hey, well, it's not that racist. There are racist undertones. There are still people in the military that feel like you need to stay in your lane as a black person. And so we just, we have to be real vigilant about that and not quiet about it. Because if we're quiet about it, we're complacent with it. We got to stop being complacent with stuff that we know is not right, just so that we can go along to get along. It's not going to help the problem, and we do our children a disservice when we see, when we don't speak up about the things, or we don't open that conversation to them to know that they too can speak up about it too. You come from a righteous people, honey, that didn't hold their tongue. But I'm gonna mute my microphone, my baby.
Please don't get me wrong. Please don't get me wrong and think that I'm saying that there's no racism in the military. Like I said, it's real when it's nowadays, I should say. Nowadays, you can point it out, you can pull them out. You know what I'm saying? Back in the days, of course, we had the global system. You know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying? To me, I think that they did it in the military first, and then they came out and tried it in public. Everything. You know what I'm saying? From having black MPs even. I was a medic with the MPs, so I trust and believe. I know how it is. I saw that, hey, we don't have a lot of black MPs, so we promote the black MPs now that's there real easy. Like they get promoted faster, easier, and all that because of the simple fact that there's not a lot of black law enforcement in the military. So they give them bonuses even. I mean, and I know it's kind of weird to say, hey, wait a minute, they're giving black MPs more bonuses than now. It's like they have a way of making the system easier for black MPs to achieve. From what I see, you know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
a lot of stuff that like a lot of times, if you go around the military, you can see, oh man, there's a whole lot of black infantry soldiers. You know what I'm saying? There's a whole lot of black artillery soldiers. You know, there's a whole lot of black people in supply in the kitchen, stuff like that. But it doesn't mean that it's racist. It's a lot of times.
But and to your point, Sean, I would love to look at. See, I'm a data person. I want to look at the statistics of how many black folk versus white folk go into combat. How many black folk versus white folk get promoted to officers? How many black folk versus white folks are on the what did you call it? The group that serves the president. You know what I'm saying? How many years we just saw a black person serve as the Secretary of Defense? But it was us getting killed on the front lines. So
there you go.
That's the data I want to look at. It's bullshit when you can. All that is bullshit to me. When I want to see the numbers. The numbers. So when the numbers and the data show me differently, what I will recognize is one thing my daddy told me: segregation was one of the worst evils that this country saw, and it is rooted deeply. Y'all know how deep the root of a tree can go. That root still ain't been killed. And so as long as that root exists in America, you know, I can see both sides of it. I do know that we have relaxed some of that foolishness, but I do know that there's some ignorant Trump living crazy folk that still live in this country.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. There's always going to be, as long as there's a difference in someone, there's always going to be somebody to try to hold you back for that difference. Just because you're different from them, that's the thing. You be different from them, and they feel like, oh, because you're different from me, then different rules apply.
Yeah,
you know, that's man, woman, child, doggone. That's, you know, any shape, size, or form. You know.
Yeah. Well, let's just start sending our children to college and stop telling them that they could get an education going through the Army instead of being academically inclined in high school to be able to get those scholarships without having to give up their lives in the military and further be discriminated against. So
and I will add to this. The one thing I want to go a shout out Dr. Torrey. I know I shouldn't do it, but when I ran for office, I was endorsed by all the labor unions in Savannah. Shout out to them. Do you know young people that go into the trades will make more money than anybody that goes to college? So, for example, if you want to be a plumber, a welder, a carpenter, you're gonna come out of high school making six figures.
Yep. And that's good. We need that because as we know that there is an influx of immigrants that's going to come and try to take over all of those fields. So we need to be equipping our children yesterday.
Yeah.
Why we don't send anybody to Job Corps no more? You don't hear anybody going to Job Corps.
Well, Job Corps is different things. Job Corps mean now I'm gonna give what this is my bias. So let me get Job Corps to mean. Job Corps to me means that you didn't know how to act in school, so we about to send you over here so you can get your stuff together. Now, earning a trade means I graduate from high school. I want to be a plumber. I go to get training to be a plumber. Those are two different things, in my view.
Tell me this, and I know I'm gonna hit a couple heads with this one right here. I know I'm gonna hit a couple heads with this because lately we got a lot of pride. We got a lot of pride.
Yeah.
We all kings and queens.
Okay, go for
it. We all kings and queens.
Okay, go for it.
But we're the kings and queens of what?
Well, everything.
No, what are we? What,
and I'll give you
we don't own the land we live on. I'm glad you said that, Queen of Rick.
Sean, let me give you an example of what I mean. Sure. And I'm gonna use Let me use my father as an example. My dad was one of very few older black men who knew how to do it well, everything well. He was a college graduate. He knew what he got a math degree from Savannah State University, along with Prince Jackson. He knew how to do plumbing in his house. He knew how to do flooring in his house. As a matter of fact, he built this house. But you don't have that anymore. So when you say what are we kings and queens of, he was the king of everything. And guess what he did? He ran his family. I don't even have that skill set. We don't. One thing we don't do well that Native Americans do well is pass along that history and the institutional knowledge. Now, I'm not saying him. It's just not what I wanted to do. I don't get my hands dirty like that. It's just not how I'm built. Yeah. But we're kings and queens of.
And you know why? Yeah. It's because in different times, people are raised different. Mm-hmm. Like if you had a hard work, like when my great grandmother died, she was 102, and I had her way past, I think I was 23 when she passed. So I had her my entire life, and she sent her children to school because she felt like her and her husband had worked so hard in their lives that they just wanted to send their children to school because for one, all of the training that they got it at home. Like all of the things that they needed to know, they got it from home. How to work in the fields, how to take care of house help you, the girls. They got all of this training at home, and I think it's like a generational thing. We have, and I'll say me because I have a 16-year-old and a 15-year-old. I want my sons to go to college because I know how hard it was trying to find my place in society, working from job to job. And I feel like it's a generational thing. And it also, my point was, I'm sorry, in the book Up From Here, which is the biography of, George Washington Carver. When George Washington book, I am just messing this up, but
you're right.
When he talked about how they built the Tuskegee Institute. Mm-hmm. He talked about how he had his students work and help build the school as well as learning. But he got a lot of backlash from the parents because they said, I sent my children there to learn. My children shouldn't be building cafeterias. They shouldn't have to build gardens to make sure they ate. And so I think when it comes to, us as African Americans, it's a give take kind of situation because we want our children to have common sense as well as book sense. Mm-hmm. And a lot of them don't, because a lot of us are children raising children or babies raising babies. And so we don't a lot of us didn't go to college. So we don't see that should be a thing that defines our children, even working. A lot of us didn't work. So why would my child be an entrepreneur? But, as a parent, I see it goes, from different views, I guess, having 5 babies. So, yeah, I'm sorry, Uncle Sean, if I cut you off.
No, you're good. You're good. I'm good.
Ray, what you got? Any feedback on that? Are we ready for our next topic?
Well, my take on it is this.
Oh, Chandra.
I'm a woman and I've gone to college, but I have one son, Christopher. He wants to go to school to be a welder. He's doing it right now in high school.
Beautiful.
And I support it because even though when I was going to Savannah State University, working on my master's, and Georgia Southern working on my master's, they're telling us, oh, when you get your master's, you'll be able to write your own ticket. Sheesh. That's a lie. Baby. It's a lie from the pit of hell. Because when you have ignorant people that don't have more than an associate's degree, a lot of times interviewing you, there's no upward mobility. There's no way into certain fields that we qualify for. African American women are amongst the most educated population in the United States. So why is it, if we're amongst the most educated, why are we behind so much as far as economics is concerned? It's systematic racism,
Yeah.
That keeps us held back. And to your point, I would rather my son go and get a trade, not come out with all of this debt.
Shout out to Ray. Go ahead, Chandra. Look at this.
Not come out with all of this debt and everything, and come out with a skill that is marketable to where even if they try to hold him back, he can start his own company and, you know, do his own thing, you know?
And I'll agree. And going back to the trades thing, I guarantee you this. I wouldn't say I would do it any different, but I'll show you something. Let me show you something right now. I carry a whole PhD, and I range right now in a salary range of, let's just say 60 to 80,000. Someone coming out of high school will make $100,000 guaranteed if they know how to be either a carpenter or a plumber. And I'm not saying one is better than the other. It's just like my mama used to say, you get what you pay for. So if I'm gonna go and clean out your plumbing, and I'm gonna come do your wiring, man, let me tell you something. I had a dude come change. He spent about 3 hours changing my fuse box to a what do you call it? Oh God, what is it? What is it, Sean? Not a fuse box, but a circuit box.
Your panel box?
Yeah, $1,000 off the rip, 3 hours.
Oh yeah.
$1,000.
No brainer. And so what I'm saying is, we've got to encourage, not necessarily go for the money, but if your child want to go do a trade or be a cosmetologist or whatever, encourage what they want. Now, what you ain't gonna do is sit up on my couch and eat for free.
Absolutely.
So,
and it teaches our children self-determination.
Yeah.
It teaches them character. It teaches them stability. You know, being an entrepreneur, you have to have. It takes some balls, and I hope we don't get in trouble for me saying balls. But
balls, basketball.
You have to have some go. You have to have endurance to be able to be a entrepreneur. And so I think because if we think about it, our ancestors was entrepreneurs. The things that they made, they sold those things. You know, they traded those things. That was the sense of community, because the things that we made that were tangible, we were able to sell or borrow or trade. You know what I mean? And so we were born entrepreneurs anyway. It's in our blood.
That's it.
Yep,
So
that's what I said. If they want to give me some reparations, just leave me alone. That's all the reparations I need. Leave me alone. Trust and believe.
So the next topic you got on here, and we're gonna do a commercial break, and we're gonna come to our next topic. Looks like Mr. Brown is coming in, but we're gonna do a commercial break, y'all, as soon as I can find my video clips. And
yeah, because I'm trying to figure out how 42 minutes into
don't worry about it. Here it go. And we are back. Hold on. Mr. Brown, I'm about to fire your ass in 5 minutes. All right, Mr. Brown, before we get back, on Sunday, we have a special guest on the political spectrum. All I'm going to say, Dr. Therese, hello, Savannah. Tune in Sunday. You'll see what I'm talking about, 6 o'clock p.m., political spectrum. Now, Mr. Brown, do your intro, please.
Are we on?
I'm not. You want to get fired too?
Excuse me. I'm one of the co-hosts. As always, hello, boys and ladies, it's always a pleasure to have this great viewing audience. We wouldn't exist if you wasn't out there. Again, I think the show been going great. I've been tired up doing some things, but again, I know all of the individuals here tonight, and I can see the beauty is untouched in the color I hadn't seen. So happy New Year, my friend.
And Mr. Brown, come on, what time for the viewing audience? All night long.
Not yet. I hadn't got excited yet. Trust me. Again, the key to everything, I want to let the viewing audience know, we need you to share, call a friend, call a family member, and share. And remember, we'll be with you all night long. All right, y'all can get on the show. It's good to be here.
You know, Teray is upset because he can't match all night long.
Well, there's no comparison. I don't need to get into that aspect of it. I got a pretty good back. I'm talking about I used to lift weights.
You see your favorite teacher right here behind
Yes,
you?
Miss Bryant. I want to call her by her first name, but I respect her too much. So Miss Bryant. She was my fourth grade teacher.
Tiffany. So
Tiffany,
Mr. Brown,
his mother was my fourth grade teacher.
My mother was his fourth grade teacher, and Daddy was his scoutmaster.
That's correct.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Isn't that ironic? What goes around come around.
And I'm his hellraiser.
Right.
Who would have ever thought in their wildest dream, his mother, my fourth grade teacher, and then when I decided to be a Boy Scout when I was in the 5th and 6th grade, I was at a scout meeting at Asbury Methodist Church on Abercorn. Mm-hmm. This lady came to bring Mr. Bryant, the scoutmaster, something. And I say, Miss Bryant, like that, because she was, my teacher in the 4th grade. So the scoutmaster, his father, said, where you know my wife from? Where you know my wife from? I said, that was my teacher. He said, oh, I didn't know that. And his wife saw me, his mother, and she went, Charlie Brown, you not acting up, are you? I said, no, ma'am. That's the truth.
Yeah. Yes, sir. That's it. So, Chandra McKeithen, you're in charge.
So our next topic is
yes, ma'am.
I like the head wrap first and foremost. I just got here, girl.
I don't.
You must be trying to catch somebody in Texas.
It ain't becoming. Don't do it no more. The next topic.
Shut up, boy. Anywho, the next subject is kind of for the guys, but I think that women need to think about it, because it's asking the question: if a woman alienates, after the separation and everything, if she alienates purposefully the children, from the man, should he still be required to give child support?
Ooh. Well, yes. I'm going to step on that this year.
Yes, because the visitation is separate from visitation and custody is separate from the maintenance of the child. So again, child support, that's separate. So sometimes we try to cloud it. That's why when you have divorce actions or you do legitimation actions, you got an order that can come into play involving child support, visitation, and custody. So, and just because, and I had to just have a conversation with someone last week about a father that his school got him to sign off on a plan for a child. And I asked the grandmother, I said, did he legitimate the child? And she was like, no, he paying child support, but he don't know. And so I was like, that's something totally separate. And we sometimes try to cloud it that, again, if you have a child, you have, as an adult, you have a responsibility to work on, to provide for the maintenance of that child. That even if that person, so what that father should be doing, that father should be filing for a legitimation action. So correct. We make this, and I would throw it out there, we make excuses because we're gonna say, well, she's holding the child from me. Guess what? You go file legitimation action. If you are not married, guess what? That's going to be a part of conflict. Legitimation, custody, visitation, and the child support. The child support is already there. The other two things come into play, but then also to throw it out there too, with regards to this, that we don't go do the legitimation. And just like if you have a divorce proceeding, the same thing comes in: custody, visitation, child support. Right. And that mother this prevents the child from coming to you, what do? You go file contempt action. Correct. So again, I'm like saying, yeah, it's without question that man and that woman, even if the man has the child and he has to custody the child, then that mother has a responsibility also to be responsible for the maintenance of the child.
That's correct. I interject, and I think what's real important is that be careful when you sign the birth certificate. If once you sign that birth certificate, I'm letting you know whether it's your child or not, after they do the DNA tests on it, you're going to still have to pay child support up until that child is 18. So gentlemen, be very careful. Don't sign that birth certificate, because once you do that, you're going to be in trouble. If it's not your child.
My brother did the same thing.
And the responsibility, like Jamal was saying just now, is that if the mom will let you see the child and keep it away, you got to go to court. You got to spend some extra money, get an attorney, and get a legitimacy that you can see the child, and that'll put a stop to it. Paperwork will beat you to death. You can curse all you wanna and say what you wanna. I say get the proper paperwork and get it in play so you can be legit by doing it that way. Thank you.
Yep. I think it's very important, and I know this for the guys, but I think it's very important that young fathers as well as old fathers that don't know about the legitimation process, that they are, informed about it, that they have just as many rights as the mom, if not more, depending on, the situation, the severity of any situation. I went through a legitimation case with my two children, because even though their dad signed their birth certificate, we were no longer together, and he wanted to make sure that he had those rights. And as a mama, as a woman, no, I don't want you, but as a mom, I want you to have as many rights because I want you to know that you have a say so in your children's lives as well. And I think that if we get the word out, enough young men were familiar with the process, because there are some young men that don't even know that that's a thing. And they're just out here labeled as a deadbeat dad, but they don't know the process. So we have to do more or a better work at getting that information out to the young fathers, as well as the old fathers.
Yeah.
I agree. Very good point. Very good point. Go ahead, Jamal.
And what people don't realize, the state has a vested interest in fathers legitimating their children. And so, which I tell you, part of the experience that I've had to do, I've had mothers who wanted to have the legitimation done. I told them, I said, listen, you can't do it. It's the father. The father has to do it. And so that's why all states have a vested interest in fathers legitimating their children. So that they want to have that done. They want to excuse me, let me back up. If they got a violent criminal history, no, that's not what they want. If there's abuse or something like that, they don't want that. But otherwise than that, the state wants it, because you know what happens. Then they know who to go to with regards to matters regarding the child. And that when it comes down to it, what some people should be thinking about anyway. Well, I'll back up. What I had to tell this grandmother, I said, listen here, in the state of Georgia, because this was the state of Georgia, I said that the only person that has a say in the child's life, technically, is the mother. Even if he paid $500,000 a month in child support,
oh God,
he ain't got no say in the child. The mother can determine anything with regards to it. So what is in your best interest for you to have some say regarding your child is to legitimate the child. Because you got some say, because what then happens, let's for instance, because I'll tell you, this has been an experience I've had also, whereas the mother is giving birth to the child, this is getting childbirth, but then she's losing blood. the family did not believe in, spiritually did not believe in blood transfusions. So the father and the mother are not married. So now he's like saying, no, save it. And guess what? The parents are like saying, no, we don't believe in that. We're going to pray. We're going to pray. And she died.
Wow.
So guess what then occurred? The child, the baby that they were able to get, it was now in the care of who? The mother's family. The father had to ultimately go file legitimation with all of that. Yeah. So that's why I tell folks, we making it seem like it's only the alienation based on the mothers or something like that. No, it's not. Every man, as Tiffany, you were saying, Commissioner Tiffany, that's right. That if we let people understand that, so yeah, these fathers can then truly have a legal say in the child's life. But if they don't, guess what? The person who actually has a say, we might do it customarily, let them have a say. But the person who legally has a say in whatever goes on is that mother. And that's why some men you out there dangling because you haven't taken the proactive measure to legitimate the child.
Sandra McKee, you there?
I think that you also have situations where even if they legitimize them, the woman, bitterness or whatever, they take the kids out of state, whatever can happen.
What you did?
Huh?
Nothing, I'm playing.
I didn't do it. They take the child out of state and make it just make everything harder.
Yeah.
Like my son, he has a child. The mother took, because he's been in the military all his life, really. The mother, after they divorced, she took the child and just started going all over the place. And even though the child was born into a marriage, so he had every right, but after he paid about $15,000, total, on different lawyers, going back and forth to court and stuff like that, he just got tired, but and that's $15,000 that could have gone towards her, instead of him always having to file some type of injunction and all of this type of stuff, to carry her back to court and she wouldn't show up. And I mean, and there was no enforcement, there was no enforcement, and now that the child is 17, she's still in the 9th grade, just in the second poorest state in the union, Louisiana, and
let me ask you a question. I heard you say she was 17 in the 9th grade. Okay, once she turned 18, and does he still pay child support? And she's still in school?
How that works. I don't know.
I don't know how it works.
If they're in school, you're still on child support as long as they're in school.
Right.
Right. Image if she's 18, 19 years old.
Yes.
Yeah.
Does this child know that her grandmama worked for NASA?
Who?
I hadn't seen the child up until this year. I hadn't seen her in over 14 years.
Yeah, but you understand where I'm coming from, because if you said she was 17 in the 9th grade, so that's gonna make her like almost 20 years old if she continue to stay in school till the 12th grade.
Yeah.
And Jamal, you mean you gotta pay it at 20 years old?
You shouldn't have to pay that much child support. Not until she graduate.
I got another question. Now, if a girl have a baby, okay, let's say she have a baby at 16, 17, she's still in school, does the father still have to pay child support?
Absolutely.
With her having a baby?
He still has to pay. Yes, sir, he does. Until that child is 18 and no longer in school, even if it's secondary school, the father is entitled to pay that child, even if they're getting Social Security from the state. They are still,
I did not know that. This is a
he
great
can go and
tonight.
he can go and sue. he can go and put that other baby, his child baby daddy. He can put him on child support too.
No, but I'm talking about, once you have a baby, I did not know that. I don't know how many viewing audience know that, because that's a good question. I decided to ask it, and I bet you a lot of people thought maybe it cut off once you have a baby or something at 16, 17 years old. But y'all saying it don't cut off. Go ahead, Jamal.
No, I would say sometimes what happens based on what the order says. The order may say until the child, if they're 17 years old, they may say it give them up to 21. By the age of 21, if they are not, they're still in school, then that's when it ends. Otherwise than that, they still continue. But again, you gotta look at what the order says, and then that comes down to representation with regard to what type of representation that you have with regard to that, and then how much are you involved in what's going on, because oftentimes we sit back and let our attorneys tell us what to do, when actually the attorneys will be representing you and handle the matter, and basically saying, hey, this is what I want. I'm adamant with regard to that. And so
if they're out of school, they graduate and they turn 18, it stopped. That's correct.
What happens when they're age 18 years old? If they're 18 years old,
they graduate.
As long as they're not still in school. But let's say if they turn 18 in February and they're still in high school, it still continues until they graduate from high school. That depends on what the order says. Again, I would say again, you gotta look at what the order says. So that's in general, it's 18 in general. But your court order may say something different, and that's on them. That's why we ain't in here giving no legal advice. We just saying, I think just be general.
We giving our opinion in general.
Just general.
One of the things I want to know right quick, and this is important to the viewing audience. If the daughter turned 18 and she decided to go to secondary education, to start college or something like that, or techno school, do you have to pay for that?
Based on the order. That's why I'm saying again. I'm saying it's based on what the order says. The order. But
so you right back at the paperwork. Make sure you get the paperwork.
The order. That's what. If somebody, some people go and say it continues. They go to college with a whole bunch of people. Once they turn 18 and they have not graduated from high school, bam, that's it. That doesn't come into play. That's why I'm saying it's your order. The order. Yeah. But I'm just saying generally that's what happens. Like again, this is no legal advice. This is not a show giving no legal advice. We're just saying general.
This is just listen, viewing audience. Black media are not responsible. We just giving our opinion and we giving our expert advice. We saying it's not legal, so please do not hold us to it and say I heard it on the Rabble. And it came from Sean. Don't know what he's talking about, rubbing his beard all over the place. Sean, you got to say something. Go ahead.
Hey, look, Chandra, I know you can go get your grandbaby. Just on the premise of giving her a better education. Huh?
If her mother was not an idiot, I could. But when you're dealing with...
This is your granddaughter.
I don't deal with uneducated people,
I'm just saying.
And I don't tend to. I'm not going to argue with you if you want to keep your child trapped in the life of poverty.
You just mad.
See, and then your son also can also exercise his rights. He can go to the courts as well and say, "Hey, I want to get my child legitimized." Once he gets her legitimized, then he have those rights.
He was born into a marriage. He didn't have to do that. When she was born, they were married.
Him and her.
You know what?
Whoa.
Hold on. And this is more so, y'all, for Tiffany and Chandra. Because women happen to be, my mama was like this, and long story short, I ain't gonna go there. What y'all gonna do when y'all boys start dating? Because women get real attached to their boys.
My boys already dating, honey, and they in the.
I know like they get married because mama was like, I don't.
I just want to teach my boys to be, to be a partner, to not just always to be a partner and to be respectful and to communicate. Do you
let them know to be responsible at all concerned because
They ain't hunching.
your life is
My
on the
nephews ain't
line. Not only child support, your life is on the line as well.
Mhm.
And I think that's a mom. If they don't have a father that's working with them, then you have to communicate with them and let them know, because once you get attached, that 18 years is a long time. It is. And,
Definitely.
and you can remedy that. Again, I'm not trying to give advice. I'm just making suggestions.
Well,
Responsibility.
No, I agree
Just a minute, Robert. I don't care how much the individual, say, I love you, baby, sign this birth certificate. If they don't think that's their baby, do not sign until they get a DNA test. I'm telling you, because I know it happened to several people I know, and the guy paid, and the baby looked just like the neighbor. And he said he could be twins, but he paying child support.
well,
Yeah.
It's so funny. Was your son in the mom and the baby came? You said.
Excuse
yeah,
me.
they were married. He was in the, it was his first year in the military. He met her. She was running from Hurricane Trina.
Mhm.
And I told him, so I did my motherly duties by telling him, son, this is not the one. She's not educated enough. She's not, she's just not enough. And you have to look in, I tell my children, don't just look at the person, you look at the family. And you look at that family history, and you see just impoverished, uneducated people. Why would you want to attach yourself to that?
Sandra,
to bring them up.
Sandra, hold on,
somebody looked at himself as a savior.
Hold on, Sandra.
Is she?
Chandra. Now I hear what you're saying, but just because I have a problem when people start what I hear is if they don't have these certain credentials, everybody don't have to have a certain credential to be good people,
sir. But when you see the pattern, and that's the problem with Black people in marriage, because white people, they partner, they look at their partner and they're looking,
we ain't white,
down the
we
line.
ain't white.
And that's the reason why we behind right now.
No, and see,
we behind, we don't
I got to see that right there, Sandra. This is the first time we ever disagreed. I never looked at me personally. Okay.
I'll be honest, baby. At the bed,
me, because I know my abilities. Because I don't know, because I know my abilities. It's like I always look to help. I always look to help. I always look to it usually some female down on her luck for me to date her. You know what I mean?
Okay, I'm gonna put it this way, and we can change it. We can go to another subject. If you got a girl you dating or a guy you dating, and the mama is extremely ugly at a certain age, then that's how she gonna look. And the daddy, if he look like he look rough and tough, that's how that person gonna look.
I don't know where you went with that.
In there. Be careful who you marry. If you want to look at the history, look at the mama and the grandmama.
I think you went to New York. We're going to Louisiana. I think what me and Chandra was talking about was this. I'm gonna tell you something about.
I know what y'all talking about.
Well, hold on. My thing is this: as long as you ain't no killer, you ain't fool up, you ain't no serious drug addict or woo or want, we can make something work. Because at the end of the day, one thing I tell people is this: I carry a doctorate degree, but guess what? I can be unemployed tomorrow, and it could be just that person we was talking about earlier, who was a carpenter, who keep this damn thing afloat. And that's the one thing I tell people about: be very mindful of how you look at people and what they bring to you. As long as you bringing something to the table and you giving me 50-50, we can make it work.
Robert, I'm impressed. Tanya, wait a minute. Robert, I'm impressed. I have a PhD myself. And what I'm saying, everyone on this show can get a PhD. Exactly. Tiffany, are you listening? You can get a PhD. Robin got a PhD.
Right.
You can get a PhD. Sean can get a PhD. All of viewing artists can get a PhD. And guess what you have to do? Pray hard daily.
That's
PhD.
it. That's it.
And you
That's
got
it.
your PhD.
But
I know where you coming from, Sandra. No, I know where you coming from.
yeah, because you shouldn't be
his
dating.
the IQ make a difference in relationship. And when he start engaging, she ain't gonna be able to keep up, and it's gonna cause a rift.
Not necessarily. I disagree. I disagree. That's when you miss out.
Also as young people, we tend to connect with those who we feel have less than we do, and we make up that what they lack. And when you're young and you see somebody, like you said, she was running for Katrina, maybe he felt like he could be that, that voice that he could make up where she lacked. Sometimes, as young people, we get attracted to those things, those fixer uppers as people. And then,
what I was about to say, Tiffany, we as Black people have to move away from the Build-A-Bear mentality. It's one thing to have somebody that you can see building something with in the future. But if you look at that family and you see that your mama grew up in the projects, all your aunts are in the projects, you have a project mentality.
What's a project mentality? Hold on. What's a project? Hold on.
You know what I mean? You know
generational poverty mentality.
What's
there
a project
is a generational poverty mentality when nobody in your household or none of your first cousins, none of your aunts, nobody graduated from high school.
But you're being unfair. You're looking at it from a privileged lens.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are.
Chandra.
You're looking at it from a privileged lens.
Right now, you in my ballpark.
You shut the hell
how
up.
I want my daughters to act, but not how a man should act. I want her to find that man that look at her first, that look at her, that everything that you said, just the opposite. That man that sit back and said, oh, you know what? Oh, I see this. This is how I can improve her life. This is how I can improve her life.
Thank you, Dr.
You're talking from the other way. You're talking from the woman, and why my daughters always got to find the guys that broken.
Okay, y'all.
I want you to find guys that look at y'all.
Real talk.
Hold on. I just want to save him. He just needs somebody to love.
No, that's your son. That's where your son is supposed to be.
No, I'm gonna tell you why.
One at a time.
Y'all,
Jamal, we're gonna get you. Hold on.
I'm gonna tell you. At the end of the day, sometimes, really, if you want to hear real talk, sometimes if you can put it down in the bedroom, you get points.
Okay, but how long does that last?
A long time. That's why they win.
You know what, G? That's about the most bullshit I've ever heard.
It's real. It's real.
The average courtship only lasts in the Black neighborhood until 6 to 12 months after the baby is born.
Hey.
So
my God.
that's that part.
I want to get Jamal. Jamal got an input. Go ahead, Jamal.
It's time for a commercial.
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay, hold tight.
Thank you.
Charles, your lunch is ready. Oh, go ahead.
Like, I
Sandra,
don't know.
Sandra.
These days we should not be dating based, that has taken us down a rabbit hole.
Sandra, I agree with you. I agree with you 100%, and I hear where you're coming from. It's not that you're trying to lift someone up. It's not going to work. The bedroom worked for only so long, because I know I used to be all night long, and now I'm about, just depend, 20 minutes if I'm lucky.
And and at the end of the day, who wants somebody that, because she was this way when he met her, and she still has a poverty mindset. She's still living in the projects. Once they got divorced, she went right back to
okay. Going to that y'all, hold on, watch this. Didn't Raphael Warnock come from the projects?
He did, but it was the mentality of his mother that none of them. His sister Joyce Hall, I've been knowing her since she was she used to be an X-ray tech, but now she owns. She's the leader of one of the biggest churches in Savannah. Beautiful. So it's the mindset. When you meet, it's one thing. We started out when we came to Savannah in Hitch Village. We were only there for 6 months, but we started out in Hitch Village. But my mother nor my father had a poverty or a project mindset to say, this is where I want to raise my children, and I want my children to be just like me. Even my dad, with only a 4th grade education, made sure that all of his children got an education.
Okay, I hear what you're saying. Let me reframe it this way, because one thing I'm big on is words and language. I think what you're saying is drive, because systematic racism, what we talked about earlier. Because see, a lot of people don't realize this. What's the hood on? And I call them the hood. My mother and father started right now on Bay Street in the hood over there. I can't remember what it is. Over there in Hudson Hill, right beside there. But it was their drive. It was their determination. It was their wherewithal that wanted them to want more, that pushed them to kind of say, you know what, this is not my stopping point. So that's what you're saying. We've got to also be mindful in our community, in the Black community. Certain words and certain language will demean or push back folk, which then divides us. So, like I got family members who live in housing authority now. But guess what? Some of them I learned from, but I just want us to be mindful of how we address and use language in those spaces, because it then drives our community apart.
Yeah, you got the right point. Now, what's the next subject?
Ooh, not too much, Mr. Charlie. Now, he ain't do it. Don't blame Mr. Charlie. Charlie is just the man. Chandra, what you got on here? How do we motivate new leaders when the old ones, i.e. Mr. Charlie, won't sit down?
And the reason why I put that on there is because I meet so many young in their 30s, just like Todd Rhodes and in the upcoming people that really should be, taking the lead now. And they're coming to the table with ideas and motivated and everything. But when you have the Estella's and the Jacksons and Mayor Jackson and all of them saying, no, you got to buy your way in, and then you got to kiss the ring, and then you got to do this and all of this. That's so discouraging for these people with ideas. Because there's no new ideas that come from the status quo.
And you think that's what's happening in the Black community in Chatham County and the greater Coastal Empire?
Definitely.
You don't think they're being fair and allowing anyone to come in unless they do like a mafia thing to a degree. That's what I'm hearing from you.
Well, I will say this. Let me say this, Mr. Charlie, since you said that. When I ran for Public Service Commission, the one thing that was said to me, and I kid y'all not, was the reason why Savannah's elite didn't stand behind you. Mind you, I'm running for a state position.
Right.
The reason why they didn't stand behind you because you didn't follow the ranks. You didn't go through city council and this and this and this. So in a respect, Chandra's right. It's almost like you gotta wait your time. Jay Jones talks about it all the time. I think that's a bunch of malarkey. At the end of the day, I'll use this for example. On city council, we have people who have been on there more than 12 years. Your ideas are not fresh anymore. As a matter of fact, you have been bought, and all you're there for is the money. Linda, Estella, Van, etc. You're not there for anything other than the money. You're not there for anything other than yourself. So at what point are you going to realize, are you really in it for the community or not? And so when we have this whole, you got to pass the kiss the ring thing, like Chandra said.
Robert, I think what's hypocritical is that they did vote on term limits. And that was so wrong after they all served that long and say we need term limit. Then some of them even shouldn't have ran for re-election again because they was at the end of their term then, if you look at it. Yeah. And what they were saying, what we want to do is set precedent now, but in the future, nobody can stay longer than 2 terms. We want.
Yeah.
Well,
I think why didn't you do that before you started voting on it?
I think that.
What you say?
Well, I'm glad that they decided to do it, no matter when it was decided, because that will keep us away from the corruption of the Rasakis era.
I'll agree 100% on you, but it's still hypocritical. But I always thought the voter will make that choice. The voter will vote you out. Evidently, they didn't.
No,
they
will not. Because that's the reason why, if you look at Congress and you see people that's been sitting there, the Mitch McConnells and on all of this, what are you doing differently being there for 40 years? Nothing. You just made yourself. You're a multimillionaire. You have connected your whole family with wealth.
You're right.
But you have not produced anything.
And I can't argue with you on that because you're absolutely right. But again, the voters supposed to decide on term limits, in my opinion. Again, that's my opinion. That's why the show is called what it is.
Right.
Well, when you have those same types of voters that will see a man with 91 indictments and still... And he's been found liable in a rape. Not, even though y'all might look at it from the, it was civil. No, they found him liable in sexually assaulting this woman. That means that if this was a criminal thing, he would have been found guilty.
And you're right. And I tell you what is so powerful. This man said out of his mouth that I'm going to be a dictator for the first couple of weeks in office. And this is America. And he said that, whether he's joking or not, but he didn't say he was joking. He's saying that's what he will run the government like a dictatorship. And the reason he's going to do that, in my opinion, he want to feel the military out to see just how far he can go with it. Because he don't want to delinquish office once he get in. If he get back in, Donald Trump ain't gonna want to give it up.
No. We can hold y'all. Let Tiffany and Sean chime in. Tiffany and Sean, let them chime in.
I absolutely agree with everything that Mr. Brown is saying. I feel like as citizens, how did we even get here? We are showing this one man that he is above the law.
Right.
If you like my dad, he's the politician. I'm just the one that's sitting in the seat. But last Sunday we were having a talk, and he was saying, We have you on tape asking for votes. We have you on, your voice is on tape saying, find me X amount of votes. All I need is X amount of votes.
Mhm.
But somebody stole the election. How did someone steal the election? And we have allowed this man to get this far and to center him and to really, look at him as untouchable, like he's above the law. And that's a dangerous place for a white man to.
Yes.
Yes. So do you really, Charlie, trust these same voters to make the right decision as it concerns term limits? Because if you ask me, we should have the same term limits that they have for the president. They should have it for the Congress, for the House,
Absolutely.
Senate, everybody, including
Supreme Court.
Including the Supreme Court.
Yes, I agree. Okay, I agree with you.
Because
I agree with you. I'm easy to get along with.
And absolute power corrupts absolutely. So that.
You're absolutely right, Sandra. We need them term limits.
You got a big fan when you got me with it, because I'm saying wrong is wrong and right is right. And term limits should be, the Supreme Court should not sit there when a person can't hardly walk. Look at Ruth Ginsburg. She was a great woman, but she was just too old. She was just too old. She was. And it's men too. And with men's too at the same time. Some of them was like almost in their 90, 93, 94 years old. What you say? How can you make major decision?
Yeah.
Well, go ahead. Even with that, at some point, like this is just me speaking. Around 75, 70 years old, I'm trying to just travel and live life. I ain't trying to make decisions for y'all.
Absolutely. Power and prosperity in the wrong hands is dangerous. And people hold those seats because they want that power. They want to be able to have that say so, whether it's beneficial for the community or not. To say that I have a seat in the Capitol, to say that I have a seat, and I have a seat at City Council, but I hope and pray that I'm able to stay as unknown in Athens, Clarke County as I already am. I guess because it's not a lot of pay, and I do it for my community. But I'm just saying.
And you want to do the work. I hear what you're saying. It's one of the reasons why it's such a hard decision to make. You want to do the work for the right reason, but you don't want the profile that goes with it. You want everybody in your business.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know I don't know exactly where Julius at, but his nose is not blocking the viewing audience tonight, because he does have a big nose and he get in the way a whole lot. And I'm glad he's not here. To be honest with you, it's a much greater show, far as I'm concerned. Wherever he at, he should stay, and that nose should stay with him. Not only is big, it's nosy too. Go ahead,
Jamal. Would be on at 7:30.
So, Mr. Brown, I cannot let you talk about Julius Hall. I cannot, and you got to stop it, Mr. Brown.
But
we will not say anything about Julius Hall anymore, Mr. Brown.
Well, we got 20 minutes. Tonight. We got 20 minutes, and Chandra, this is the most important, in my opinion, topic of the night.
All right, go ahead.
Let's talk about Black History Month, and I know Teray got a lot going on, and Athens got a lot going on, and Chandra, take it away.
So, what was the question that I asked? It was a question that I asked.
I don't know.
I know, but you.
Who is teaching? Hold on. Who is not too much? Who is teaching Black history? Why do we only talk about it in February? Great questions.
Yeah, and now that they've taken it out of so many schools, who is teaching Black history anymore? And when I was in school, it wasn't really taught. It was only mentioned in the month of February. And then when they made us watch Roots, which that was a bad time, Oh, y'all didn't have to watch Roots? We had to watch Roots.
Yeah, they didn't want to.
We had to watch Roots and Shaka Zulu.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we had white folks.
Right.
And, you know, I mean, and so for days after the Roots series and every, you know, saga, whatever, I wanted to just slap somebody. You know, I was just so frustrated as a Black person, you know. Julius said Charlie's a hater. But, you know.
Yeah, I agree, Charlie. I mean, I agree.
Hey, Julie.
I think that I really believe that this should be something. I mean, we should strive as a people, because the only Black people I knew of was Harriet Tubman, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X a little bit, but it was on a negative connotation.
Right. He's a
You
rapper.
know,
So
they always talk about him as
you probably know about her.
and yeah, a little bit about Sojourner Truth.
Yeah,
but never knew, they never talked about all of the people that contributed to the America that we have, because so many of their ideas and things were stolen. You know, and I mean, I suffer that right now, you know, at my job. You know, my kudos will go to a white person in a minute. And, you know, I mean, I'm just like, but I wrote that. But I did, you know, whatever.
Well, and to add to that, Chandra, one of the things I talk, y'all, it's no secret I work at Clemson University. And
where do you work at again?
The Clemson University.
In South Carolina.
In South Carolina. Life is good.
Okay.
But one of the things we learned from Dr. Rhonda Thomas, and one of the things that we're seeing here in Savannah, which is why I am baffled by this ignorant mayor we have in Savannah, is the legacy of John C. Calhoun. And let me follow me with this. We have discovered that everything in this country called America, first of all, it was taken, as Bernard would say, the country was taken from the natives. But then they brought the Black folk over here to build the country up. And so campuses like Clemson were built by enslaved laborers, right? For free.
UGA too.
Yeah, oh yeah. So, but it goes further. So then you have unmarked graves, because we have graves where the Negroes were buried, what they were called at the time, and we put roads and stadiums and squares in Savannah across them. And so now we have unmarked graves and we have streets over them. And so when you look at all of that and you take what you're saying into context, Chandra, it becomes even more glaring that this country, it baffles me when people like Trump say we're going to close the border for immigrants. Well, hell, you're an immigrant. So that's why I tell people, be mindful about what you say, because ain't no native but the Native Americans. But we got to be mindful of, when we talk about reparations and all that. I say that every African American child who desires to go to college or get a post-secondary education should get it for free. If not, they're going to go to a trade, start them off at $100,000 bond. Because you white folk then took everything, stole it, and then want to claim it as if you got some generational wealth on because you were that smart when you weren't. So we've got to fix the system. And what I mean by that is balancing. And we're so unbalanced because we live in a system that was never created for us in the first place.
Right. I want to go ahead and interject. Now it's my turn. The Black History Month. Dewey sent something across the screen. He's absolutely right. Black media, which I'm a part of it. What's so important? We talk about it all the time. Every time we get an opportunity, we don't have to wait the leap year. They give us an extra month. February this year will carry 29 days. So now we don't have the 28. We got 29, a plus day. But we must take pride in our own history and tell it to our people as often as we possibly can. It's our responsibility. It's nobody else. If they don't want to hear what we did, we need to still educate our young people, our people willing to listen. It's important to talk about how good you are. If you don't blow your own horn, then nobody else gonna blow it for you. So it's time for us to take and say, we only talk about it in February, not black media. I know we talk about every opportunity we get. Dr. Charles Drew, who the blood plasma, he died because he needed a transfusion and couldn't get one. And it's sad. Black people have done so much. Dr. George Washington Carver. I can go on and on. We need to continue to talk about it and be about it. And that's the way I feel. And thank y'all for letting me share that. Anyone can go next. I already have my turn. Who want to go next? Just throw your hand up.
John has another chance to chime in.
Tiffany, go ahead.
I think you're absolutely right. I think that what we are also seeing is that a lot more of us are embracing our history and our culture to now that it's not just 1 month. You know, it may be 1 month on the calendar, but in communities, you're seeing celebrations of Black cultures, not only in February, but last month in December, Juneteenth, you know, and I totally agree with Mr. Brown. It's up to us to, you know, say, honey, you're not going to just designate us to just 1 month. Black history is every day, all day. Everybody on this platform is Black history. We're all Black history. It's not just, you know, our ancestors that came before us, but it's us that's actually doing the work now. Us that's, you know, as minute as just being a mom, you know, raising children. That's Black history. Us making sure our communities are safer for the generations that's to come. That's Black history. You know what I mean? We get caught up on the first ever and we say, well, we shouldn't keep on saying this 2024. We shouldn't still have a first. Well, we do. And sometimes when we create our own avenues, we won't just be the first. Because there are a whole lot of people that came before us that did the same thing. It's only the first when our counterparts are recognizing us. But it's not the first in the book. It's just the first time that you recognize us for doing the things that we've always done. So Black history isn't just February. Black history is also January the 31st. So,
amen.
Yeah,
Right.
makes sense.
Go ahead, Sean.
When you know, I honestly thought that Black History Month was something that was going to end after school. Like this was something that they did in school, like field day, because that went from, you know, all the way from kindergarten all the way up to elementary school. I thought that Black History Month just was, hey, this is part of school when we celebrate Black people and all that, you know, what we done and all this. Because I went to a all Black elementary school. And so, you know what I'm saying? When Black History Month hit, it was like, okay, we just celebrating it a lot more. We didn't have the other like Hawaiian month, Asian American months and all that. We didn't celebrate all those other months. Like literally, we didn't celebrate, you know, St. Patrick's Day, we looked forward to. April was rainy showers and stuff like that. But other than that, it was, you know, not a big deal because we always had it there in so many words. It was always around. We always had Black teachers, always had other things. But I thought it would pass once I got out into the real world and realized, oh, we still doing this? We still do it, you know, like this still is a thing in the real world. You know, it started becoming embarrassing to me, you know. And when I say embarrassing, it's like, okay, why we always hear about the same people over and over and over again? And then y'all, you know, now you got Target selling a sister shirts and all that, and all that other stuff with Black people on it. And hey, proud to be Black and proud to with a price tag on it and all that. And I'm like, you know, proud to be Black to me was, hey,
but Sean, just keep in mind, I know what has happened but we're work in progress. We are now much understanding what's going on, and we know it's others because they didn't show us others, and maybe we didn't have the research. But since we got our own doctors, scientists, and history people now of the black color, we are digging deep and finding out more what's going on. But I understand what you're saying. You were pigeonholed, and that's about all you knew because they didn't put nothing else in the front of you.
Yeah.
It's
And
like
I
the unique one.
I would say that's the truth for a lot of us that, went to in elementary school. It wasn't until you got out of school and got to be an adult, unless your
Right.
parents exposed you to these type of things. But if your parents weren't exposed to it, then necessarily you wouldn't be either. I did a deep dive, not too long ago into all of the great things that African Americans have contributed, and it changed me. And so I want to share that with my children so that they know that they're not, they know that they had a blueprint. There was a blueprint, whether it was printed for us in the textbooks or not. There is a blueprint. Our ancestors made that blueprint for us. And so it's for us to, do our research and spread the word within our families.
I am so happy. I am so happy.
Mr. Brown.
Okay, hold on. I was just want to compliment. I'm so happy to have you back. I hadn't seen you in a while. You must be on the show more often. I know you're busy, but you got to take time because we need your knowledge to let the people know things like what you're sharing. I appreciate you.
All right. So y'all, hold on. Let's give us a break. As a part of Black History Month, one of the things I want to share is to make sure we promote the two chefs, Gullah Geechee Ball. And so for those of you who don't know about it, I'm going to play a video of the first one we did, of the first one they did last year. Hold on, Dr. Teray, if you would, your comments, Dr. Teray, hello, your comments after the video plays. So here we go.
Wow.
You can put 100 grand on it. Anything I said, I stand on it. In a private lane, I land on it. Really good and they call me Bankole. Cause I walk around with a bank on me. Show them Gangnam style, put the gang on them. Twist my fingers up and bang on them. Lily who, different type of evil available. And anyone who can kill you. Anytime, anything can happen. No, anyone.
All right, Dr. Teray, if you could kind of give us.
I want to just say it's the second. It was showing the first on the thing, letting the people know this is the second year.
Yeah. Teray.
Right, Charlie. This is the second annual one that's being done by Moraleo and her husband, Curtis. And so it's for us to celebrate our culture and celebrate our history. And they'll be at the annex for the Priscilla Thomas Annex. That's the Priscilla Thomas Annex. That's in back of the Ralph Martin Gilbert Civil Rights Museum. And they will have that going on. Dr. Umar Johnson will be there also on that day. Queen Quet will be there too. And you have others that will be there on Saturday. That's Saturday evening in Savannah, Georgia. And tickets. We may have a few tickets left. Have to contact Sister Moraleo at 2 Chefs. They should be open tomorrow, and you can go inquire with regards to the last remaining tickets. Tickets for dinner or general admission tickets also.
And who is Queen Quet?
Queen Quet is the chiefess of the Gullah Geechee Nation.
Tell us a little more about that, because everyone isn't aware.
In July of 2000, Gullah Geechee people from North Carolina down to down to St. Augustine, Florida, met on Sullivan's Island. We installed her as the Queen Chiefess of the Gullah Geechee Nation. But what happened prior to that in the 1990s, the folks in Charleston, South Carolina said that we are a nation. And why is that? I tell people akin to other Native American nations, because we have a landmass. Our landmass for us predominantly is from Jacksonville, North Carolina, down to St. Augustine, Florida. Correct. And with regards to that, so we have a geographical area. The other thing that people don't realize also is that the United Nations recognize and has said that Gullah Geechee people that is in the United States are a cultural and linguistic minority in the United States. So we are recognized internationally, but most of us don't realize that. And so that's why I said the United Nations. And in fact, Queen Quet went before the United Nations and she addressed them. And so with that, so just like other cultural and linguistic groups like the Basque that are in Spain and other places that, again, are those in Samana who call the Los Ingles that are in what we know as the Dominican Republic. So we recognize with regards to that. And so for us, and I tell people, it's a difference between people talk the quarter, the Gullah Geechee quarter. The Gullah Geechee quarter was created by the government, but it was the people who said that we are a nation. Understand that. And that the quarter is a governmental institution. So if you are no longer around, I tell people, if you're no longer around, guess what? You still gonna have the quarter because it's for museums. But the people, that's what, again, and that's why I tell people, that's what our fight is about. Our fight is about liberation, and that I tell people we don't take it lightly, and that some of us have been in this work for some 40 years now. And so that we're going to take it. Some of us has been a lifetime for some of us. And so
can you tell us the number, the viewing audience, their number they can contact, a phone number, and do it slow if you don't mind?
I can't tell them that they need to go by 2 Chefs. They need to go by 2 Chefs.
Okay, so MLK.
MLK 37.
The number that I have, I don't think I can give out publicly. That's why I need to go by 2
MLK between 36 and 37.
You're right now,
MLK, 2 Chefs, Gullah Geechee, 2 Chefs.
Yeah, and the
they
reason why
they had those tickets advertised on Eventbrite.
They're on Eventbrite. You're exactly right.
Okay.
So one of the things I have a major respect for Taylor Washington, and I'm sorry, Brother Perry, I'm not giving the correct transition name, but Taylor just ran for city council, and she just is a powerful woman, and her husband, her king, just powerful family. I
like them.
Yeah, I love them. They're beautiful people. So,
Tiffany, you was gonna say something? I saw you had your hand up before we close. Oh, Jamal is supposed to give your comments on Black History Month. Jamal, your turn. You was the last one.
It's important for you to tell your story always. Tell your story, and I'll just share just a couple of things for y'all understand the importance of this. So on Sunday, I met with some people who live in Pooler, and I was talking with them, and they began to share some things with me. And so I told them, I said, no, I got to take you back even farther, because they're much older than me. But I said, I got to give you some insight and take it much farther. I had to take it back to Africa for them, saying that what you all are doing, you are actually manifesting Africa right now in your lives. You thought that it was something else. And I said, but what you all have done, what you thought that you had evolved to, you thought that was advancement. I said, no, it's not. You broke your cycle. I said, you had Africa right there in your hands. But now you thought in the 60s and 70s, you thought that you had evolved. And so when I said this to that older brother, he looking at me like, what? And so I'm going to be doing a program for them on the 18th of February. And I'm going to hit them with some more stuff. He contacted me yesterday, asked me a question about something. And I said, no. I said, so you trying to get my information. So it's some information I'm going to be giving them. That's on the 18th, and that's for the Seabrook family in Pooler. I want you to know that. If you all don't realize this, and that's why I say how you got to tell your story, because when they talk about Pooler and Port Wentworth and Garden City and Bloomingdale, they'll have you think that they were all created by Caucasians, that you don't realize that Black folks were in those areas right there, and that all got left out when they write about it. So that's why you have to talk about it. And people asked me on tours last week and even today, they said, you were around your family. I said, right. I was around my family. My family said positive things about me and talked about my family members. So that made me want to know more about me. But then when I read books here in Savannah and in South Carolina, they did not talk about me. And I was disappointed. So as opposed to me being mad and being angry, and I knew better because I knew the truth, guess what? If some of y'all saw the show that I had on Run Tell That, you all find some of y'all got a clue about how I am with my spiritual beliefs. That when I found out it was a lie and that they did not share the information, it became my job now to tell the history, to tell it to people and rub it in their faces if need be, to let them know you're not as brilliant as you think. And that's what we got to do. We need our young people, our elder people, our middle-aged people. That's why I say it's no division. Black folks, when you start trying to say it's the elders, it's the young, and it's the middle-aged people, you're buying into the oppressor. That's why all of us need to know our story and spit our story out. That's right.
And continue to talk about it. Continue to talk about it.
Right.
Okay. Robert, you can take over from here and close us out or whatever.
It's Chandra in charge.
You can go ahead.
Well, I thank you guys for showing up. I thank y'all for holding it down for Julius while in his absence.
You did a great job.
You did do a good job, Chandra.
Thank you.
And by the way, y'all don't know this, but we have fired Julius Hall from the Watchdogs, and we have now appointed Queen Chandra to be on the Watchdog with myself and Carlton. So,
well, I think that's a good thing. You don't need him to be there. He is the CEO, and he's trying to be everywhere at all times. He's gonna have to let go, and this company gonna grow and let others come in and do a good job. But you have to be present. You can't be wishy-washy. You cannot wear your feelings on your sleeve because for the fact that Charlie Brown stayed off the air one time for almost a year. But what happened, that would happen. But I've grown up since then. And you can say what you want to say to me. You got to have alligator hide and elephant skin. But you got to have that to be on these shows. You cannot be a little baby and cry about every little thing. We too old for that crap.
We got it. Mr. Brown. No, we too old for that crap. Before we go, because y'all pissed me off last week. Y'all know y'all did.
Well, tough, Robert. Your problem is tough too much.
Hold on. Before we go.
Mute him, son. Mute him.
Brown, I'm in charge right now. Now, before we go, let's all give Julius his flowers. And I'm going to start. I'm going to model the behavior. There have been many times and struggles in my life. And had it not been for this podcast and this thing, I could have been anywhere in a hospital, dead, or in jail. So just thank you to Julius. Who's next?
We did this last week. You missed it.
Well, I don't give a damn. We're doing it again.
We have 15. We're in a 15-day countdown to my new show. Let's talk about it. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited that this is the platform that it's going to launch on, but I see it being big, and
congratulations.
Yeah. So
are you gonna have a co-host?
Mr. Brown, you're next. Can you give your accolades
about Julius?
Yes, please.
To be perfectly honest with you, he wouldn't have been nowhere 100% without me beside his side. I've been his confidant. Him and I have talked, and he told me about his dream. I said, I don't think that's possible. He kept telling me, and then he made me a believer. The guy is a genius, and I have to give him his kudos. This whole thing we looking at the black media, ATR. I love the guy. although sometimes his nose do get in my way, but that's just automatic what it is. Thank you.
Okay. And so Tiffany, your turn, and then Jesus, and then Sean, and then Sean, are you back in charge?
Well, I was introduced to Julius by you on the Watchdog, and since that first episode, and we talked about mentorship and the importance of mentorship, and that's been like 2 years ago. And Julius has been very instrumental in my campaign and where I am now, and so, and also with allowing me to be on the Ramble with you guys. So thank you so much, Julius, for believing in me all the way here in Athens, and we haven't even met in person.
Right. Wow. We gotta come see Daniel play. Set us a schedule. We come to see Daniel play.
Okay, I will.
Well, I met him through my daughter, Yana. I don't know how that even met up or whatever, how that even clicked. But she was like, "Hey, Daddy, you need to be on this show." Threw me on the show, and from there, it was all she wrote. I love the guy. I love where his head is at. It's like, whoa, you trying to tell me all this? I did a lot of talking, but he did a lot of walking. And this is what happens when you put the talk to the walk. Okay, now now I'm learning. I want to learn. I'm there, and I thank him. So, and
Sean, kudos to you, Sean. You have been a tremendous contribution. I mean, I know some days we beat the hell out of you, but you push us. To Ring, anything you want
We did this last week.
Sean,
okay, but some of us wasn't here, so we just
y'all need to be
here. Some of us wasn't here.
I don't worry about it. It's gonna be fun. It's all good.
Last week.
I understand, but some of us wasn't here.
Thank you.
It was
some of us
last
wasn't
week.
here. Some of us wasn't here, but guess what?
If you wasn't here, guess what? We don't. Okay, we can go back on other agendas with other time. A year ago, we'll do that right now. Charlie Brown, you had said some stuff too, and that's why I held the phone up again. Charlie Brown. You had
I didn't see you. I didn't see you holding the phone up. I thought you were talking to someone.
So again,
okay,
you said something about Julius. I'm going to take up. So Charlie Brown.
I got you. I want to say this.
Let me go.
Julius,
Charlie Brown. I'm about to. Okay.
No, I'm supposed to say, Julius. We all love you guys, but again, he could not have done none of this without a team effort. And all you guys have been team. Whoever on the team, it would not work without a team. There's no I in teamwork. And Julius did it with leadership, but it take a team to do it, okay? So he's not a dictator, but he tried to be.
All right, Chandra, tell me when to head out.
Well, see you guys next week. Y'all have a blessed rest of the week and weekend. Tiffany, I'll see you when I see you, girl.
Tiffany, bye, Tiffany.
Yeah.
Why you ain't tell Chandra bye?
like this.